Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
It sure is. It is the Arrington Gavin Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, as always, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So please, my friends, do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. I'm your guy, Arrington Gavin. So honored to be joining you on this wonderful evening. So much stuff to tap into on the show. I'm gonna be bringing it from my home to you all. From my home city, Chesapeake is having a quite notable because there's a lot of local races happening across this nation. But I want to share some tea that's happening with the local race happening in my home city. It's a sheriff race, and it's juicy. It's juicy, and I'll share with you later on. In addition to that, what else do we have on the slate today? We have some then diehard Trumpers now turning into more like Trump regretters. Candace Owens, who we all know, and some of them might love. I don't know. She's eh. I tolerate Candace here from here and there. Another gentleman's name I believe is Dave Smith. He was also a staunch Trump supporter. He's having regrets. I'll share a little more what they have to explain of why they are feeling these regrets about the person that they voted back into office. In addition to that, uh there will not be a Cuomo heading back into any form of politics in New York City because recently New York had their primary and Zoran Mamdani won the Democratic primary. Now, it was I w- y- a lot of folks are happy about it because, Mamdani is somewhat of a rising star in the progressive movement. And excuse me if I sound like I have a little little sniffles here. Um, but he is a rising star in the progressive movement. They realize that, and when I say they, voters realize there was some shiestiness happening with this Democratic primary because okay, here comes a man, Andrew Cuomo, former governor of the state of New York, a man who was shut down by Democratic elites who told him, "Hey, you need to resign," because there were some sexual harassment charges being brought against him, even though he spoke about his innocence. And to my knowledge, I believe charges were dropped. They forced him to resign after he was doing so good for the Democratic Party, so good. He was a rising star for the Democratic Party. They said, "No, you got to go. You're making us look bad." Then all of a sudden he comes back, wants to run for mayor because they're not happy with the way Eric Adams is leading the city. So he comes back. He gets all the folks that then forced him to resign that are now endorsing him. Michael Bloomberg endorsed him. Another former New York mayor. I mean, so many high elite officials. James Clyburn, out of South Carolina, Congressman out of South Carolina, endorsed him. So many of these elite names endorsed uh, Andrew Cuomo. No one wanted to see Mamdani succeed, but one key vocal individual, and that was AOC, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, Congresswoman AOC. So it was a big upset. It was a big upset, and I'll explain that a little more later on in the show. My friends, as always, thank you so much for supporting, for tuning into the Arrington Gavin show. We are coming to you with all the great stuff that we love to do here on the program. We want to make sure we keep you informed, entertained, and did I mention informed? Because here in these streets, lack of information is what's our kryptonite, right? There's so much stuff going on so fast. It's hard to keep up with everything. But here, I'm here to just help provide just a little bit, 5 nights a week. That's right. On all digital and streaming platforms, as well as on the radio airwaves. Do me a favor, as you saw pop up, please like and subscribe this episode if you happen to be streaming us right now on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, that means you have subscribed. If you haven't yet, please, my friends, do so. You can also stream us on Rumble as well as on Goatverse TV. That's right, Goatverse TV is a wonderful independent streaming channel that I'm honored to be a part of. Uh, you can download the app. It's free. It's available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire TV. Again, that name is Goatverse TV. All in addition to that, my friends, look, you can listen to the Arrington Gavin Show. We're available on all major podcast platforms. So wherever you listen to your podcast, you can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. You can also do me another favor, follow us on our social media platforms: Instagram, Blue Sky, X, and you can also subscribe to our Substack page, all under the same name, the Arrington Gavin Show. We want to, give it to you raw, no holds bars. You know what I mean? Zero sugar coating. That's what we do here on the program. Um, Let me see. Also, you can, if you would love to email me at info@theagshow.com, or just go on our website, www dot the A as in apple, G as in George or go, and then show, like the big show.com. All right. Check out our awesome website. You can contact us through there, and just to keep you up to speed on recent episodes as well. Because look, like I said, we keep it moving, we keep it consistent here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Let's see. I hope y'all enjoyed that the last show when I had on Mr. Rodney Nickens Jr. He was currently candidate, Democratic nominee for Virginia House Delegates District 90, and it was a very impactful, very just passionate conversation, and just that's the energy that I received from Rodney, because what we see now is, in my opinion, I see a lot of folks doing a lot of talking points, stuff that has been shared time and time again and recycled over and over and over again. But I'm not seeing, like, okay, what are you going to do for us? What are you going to do for us? Folks are PO'd, okay? Folks are tired. Folks are tired of seeing same old, same old. Folks are tired of seeing the bad guys winning. Folks are also tired of seeing folks not giving up their seats. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I went there. It's so much crap happening, and it's just it's we're seeing both parties, in my opinion, losing it. They all need to go over, they need to revamp itself. Like I mentioned earlier, you have conservatives fighting each other left and right. Mark Levin, Margie Taylor Greene. I mean, they're going at it. Tucker Carlson's going after his old employer, Fox News. On the left, you got the disconnect between progressives and moderates. It's so much junk going on, yet I'm still trying to figure out, why haven't we seen true independent candidates lead? We're seeing so many longtime Republicans leaving their party. We're seeing so many longtime Democrats leaving their party. Folks are frustrated. I was listening to an interview with Joanne Reed, and she was saying how she's been a Democrat since she could vote, and she's really on that cusp of leaving, because she just, what's going on here? So much stuff going on, y'all. So much stuff. Let's see what we're gonna do here. We're gonna take a quick. Well, before we do this commercial break, let me go ahead and do our fun fact of the day. It's been a minute since I've done some of those, so let me see. Grab this fun fact. So today's fun fact: did you all know that Teddy Roosevelt, former President Teddy Roosevelt, was shot during a speech and kept on speaking? I repeat, Teddy Roosevelt was shot during a speech and then kept on speaking. This happened in 1912. Roosevelt was shot in the chest during a campaign speech. He finished his 90-minute address before seeking medical help. 90 minutes, first of all, damn. That's what? 90 minutes is an hour and 30 minutes of talking a speech and you was shot? Like, what in the world? Like, I can already imagine. I can imagine Trump saying, I mean, it doesn't. First of all, I've been shot and I still spoke. So it's not that. It's not all that. It's not all that. Mine was better. Mine. I was grazed in the ear. All right, shot in the chest. Whatever. Whatever. I was grazed in the ear. All right. And look, y'all. Before y'all say Arrington, don't be joke. Look, I'm not. We spoke here on the program. I'm happy that our current sitting president has recovered and he was not harmed, because that was a terrible moment of U.S. history. Right? We don't want to wish any harm on anybody. I always tell us I don't wish harm on my worst enemy. So I was happy that. But I'm just saying, you know how Trump would be like. Because Trump always loved to top somebody. He always loves he always loved to say, okay, I did this better than this and that and the other. That's what kills me about him, because it takes a team to achieve goals, but yet he always uses I and me. That right there, my friends, should already be a wake-up call for you, realize like this man don't.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs. and we're going to bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
Alrighty, welcome back, my friends. Welcome back. Look, I mentioned earlier about a huge story that had occurred in my home city of Chesapeake, Virginia. Now, I want all our listeners here because we are honored to have listeners from all across, really the world, but specifically, the U.S., the United States, and this is something that is pretty, in my opinion. I know this is not a story that only happens in Virginia. I know this has occurred in your local city. Check this out. So we had primaries recently, right? And so in the primaries, we had a lieutenant governor's primaries for a Democratic lieutenant governor's race. And well, let me break it down. So in Virginia, we have dual primary, right? A dual primary. So you either choose a Democratic ticket or Republican ticket, which I've never liked because I feel as though, again, as an independent, it's a disservice because, for one, you do have independent folks that do run campaigns, but not even just that. If it's somebody on the Republican side, I might like, and then there's somebody on the Democratic side that I might like. It makes it harder. So we came across an issue like that. So there was a primary for Chesapeake City Sheriff. Um, they both were registered Republicans. One gentleman's name is Wallace Chadwick. Let me see. Yes, Wallace Chadwick, and then the incumbent, Dave Rosado. Um, both registered Republicans. Now, between the two, I might say I've had the opportunity of meeting Dave, Sheriff Rosado, a couple of times. Real nice guy, real chill. He does a lot of stuff in the community. He's a magician as well, and he has a pretty solid track record, and is quite respected on both sides of the aisle. Now, Chadwick Wallace, in my opinion, in the way it was looking, he is that MAGA individual who will abide by MAGA views, right? Once again, you're comparing somebody that's leans a little more bipartisan than you have somebody that's more MAGA. Let's be real here. So, in order for if someone wanted to say, okay, look, I wanted to vote for Sheriff Rosado, you would have to risk losing that vote on the Democratic side. Risk because there were 6 candidates running for a lieutenant governor in the Democratic primary. Then you had 2 candidates that were running in the Democratic primary for attorney general. That was a huge gamble, right? Now, some folks can say, hey, look, whoever takes the dub, God bless them. And I'll just do that, take that gamble so I can vote for Sheriff Rosado. Now, here's the interesting thing. Sheriff Rosado lost the race. He lost the primary race to a man who, yes, he had a law enforcement background, but not in the sheriff department. Sheriff Dave Rosado put 23 years as an undersheriff in the sheriff department. The former sheriff that had retired recently endorsed him. But the local Republican Party did. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and show you this. Let me just go ahead and show you this clip, and we'll talk on the other side because this is an interesting story, and I'm been reaching. I'm been reaching out, and I hope to get him on. But let me go ahead and play you this soundbite. We'll talk on the other side.
As Chesapeake Sheriff Dave Rosado says he is not conceding the race for sheriff.
Instead, he says he's launching a campaign as a write-in candidate. Now, last week, you may recall, Rosado lost the Republican primary to challenger Wallace Chadwick, 41% to 58%. But according to a statement that Rosado released just minutes ago, he says a little more than 12,000 people voted for a position that serves the more than 253,000 people living in Chesapeake. He says, quote, "I will not stand by while voices of Chesapeake are silenced," end quote.
His statement goes on to say this election was, quote, not a fair process, his words, and described it as a power grab, promising to share more details about what he says happened behind the scenes in the coming weeks. Rosado also announced his resignation from the Chesapeake Republican Party.
So okay, so right there in a brief statement, and I'll repeat more what they said in writing. He had said, "Look, he is not conceding. I'm not stepping aside. I'm going." He's now pursuing to continue his campaign, but this time a write-in campaign. A write-in campaign. So he's hopefully putting his faith in the people to say, "Hey, look, can you remember to write my name in, please? Can you remember Dave Rosado?" Do you know how difficult that is when you're coming across? Look, you have, depending on your the area you at, we have an election season where all 100 delegate seats are up for grabs. So you have delegates that you need to remember. Uh, uh, which lieutenant governor you want to have, which governor you want to have, which attorney general you want to have. Now, sheriff. Now you have to remember to write in. Now, I'll be honest. I do personally think that it was a kick in the face to Sheriff Rosado, because if you have somebody that has already dedicated his life 23 years, wouldn't you think he would be the better person than someone who's somewhat of an outsider? Yeah, the outsider receives, but the outsider receives so many endorsements. The Republican Party, former congressmen, you name it. He was, and it was in, and see the way the opposing side. Well, I say opposing, but the way his opponent had uh 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 trashed his name is by saying, "Look, he's not a real Republican because look at all these photos he's had with the Democratic elites. He's an undercover Democrat and this and that and the other." Let me go ahead and read you this. So let's see here. Uh, as I mentioned, he's been in the sheriff's office for more than 20 years, became a sheriff in November of 2024 to finish the last year of Jim O'Sullivan's term upon his retirement. Now, a judge waived the need for a special election that year. Now, recently, Rosado got about, during the primaries, he got about 41% of votes cast in the primary. The remaining votes went to Wallace Chadwick, who's been with the Chesapeake Police Department more than 2 decades. So again, he has a background in law enforcement. Uh, with no Democrats or independents in the running, the winner of the primary seemed poised to serve as the city's next sheriff. However, Rosado says he's since resigned from the Republican Party of Chesapeake, allowing him to be a write-in candidate in November's general election. Now, in a release, Rosado says that the recent week's election was not a fair process, citing the fact that only voters who participated in the Republican primary had to say it in the city's sheriff race. In the Republican primary, there was over 12,000 votes casted for a position that serves over 253,000 residents. Now, I understand the frustration with that. I understand first of all, and we had the conversation with Rodney Nickens. The issues with low voting turnout. There is an issue with low voting turnout. Sometimes it's not always on the people. It could be the opportunities provided by the city. All right, back there was a few elections ago where the city council had taken away 3 precincts, citing low voting turnout. Yes, it costs money to get those votes out there, but a vote is still a vote at the end of the day. A vote is still a vote at the end of the day. Because there were no Democrat or independent candidates on the ballot in November, voters who participated in the Democratic primary or received a Democratic ballot had no say in choosing the next sheriff. It's very true. That's very true. Now, this WTKR News 3 also obtained Rosato's resignation letter to the Republican Party of Chesapeake. In a letter, he accuses party insiders of creating a culture of exclusion and control. He says here, from the very beginning, the party chose not to support me. In fact, it actively worked against me. Rather than championing experience and proven leadership, I was undermined. I was undermined, dismissed, and used as a political scapegoat. My Brooklyn, New York roots thrown back in my face, despite moving to Chesapeake in 1999 and dedicating my life to serving this community. Let's see here. It says here Dave Rosado made an informed decision to enter an open Republican primary affair. Now this is a quote from. Let's see here. Okay, let me read this. Okay, this was Wallace Chadwick's team. A response saying Dave Rosado made the informed decision to enter an open primary, a fair process where he outspent us 5-1, yet still lost by 17 points. Now, unhappy with results, he is violating his oath and launching a write-in campaign. Now, we won decisively and fairly in June because Chesapeake is ready for change. Now, correction, my friend, not Chesapeake, Republicans. Republicans, and not even all Republicans. 7,000, a little over 7,000 Republicans, Chesapeake Republicans, voted for you. So take that out the butt, my friend, to say that all of Chesapeake didn't have a voice, didn't have any saying in this. Okay, so let me continue this. Um, Voters are tired of interim sheriffs who have wasted thousands of taxpayer dollars plastering his name and face on everything and continues to make the office about himself while failing to do the job he is sworn to do. That's why this desperate last ditch effort to cling on his title will fail. The office of the sheriff doesn't receive a coronation handed down from the former sheriff, and it doesn't belong to any one person. It belongs to you, the people. As sheriff, I will keep the focus where it belongs, serving the citizens of Chesapeake in November, just as they did in June. Voters will send another clear message. Change is coming. The sheriff's office will return There we go. We're having some technical difficulties here. What I was finishing up was, I'm proud to have, and this was a quote by Chadwick Wallace. I'm proud to have earned this. I'm proud to have earned this nomination in a hard-fought primary, and will work even harder to win by even larger margins in November, to begin serving all people of Chesapeake, regardless of party or creed. Together, we'll restore integrity and purpose, building the best sheriff office in the Commonwealth, working 24/7 on our behalf. Let me see. Oh. So my thing is, y'all, why is it? Well, there's so many things I want to pinpoint here, and forgive me as I'm over here discombobulated. So not only did my light my light go out, but the connection was a bit iffy. Let me see if this is. Oh, no, not helping. So anyway, let me explain here. I hate when folks are saying, regardless of your party or creed, we're going to serve you. If that's the case, then why couldn't you speak on that from the beginning? Because you came, you know, throwing out all the insults and the personal jabs. You started the smear campaigns, not Rosato's squad. And I'm saying this as a resident, what I've witnessed, because on the day I'm talking to y'all, on the day of primary, or the day before, either the day before or the morning of, there was a disgusting a smear, a flyer that was talking about Dave Rosato. It was awful. It was awful. And I mean, my thing is, I'm not crazy about the smear campaigns. But really, I'm not. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of them, but I get it. They do so much they do so much to get folks from voting for this individual. So I get it. It's a part of the whole shebang. It's a part of the whole uh uh process. But here's another thing. There we go. That's interesting. Okay, so I got it working. I look better with the I look better with the lighting. I had to fix my lighting here. Uh but here's my frustration, y'all. Here's my frustration. Rosato is, for one, bringing up the fact that, okay, the party has been like that since day one. Let me tell you something, my friend. You knew what the party was when you signed up for it. You knew how they roll. You knew how the system, how the game worked. You knew that. So stop playing dumb here. And then in addition to that, let me find the quote. Give me a second here. I'm trying to find it, but I tell you, man, technology, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. I think this is okay. Here we go. So let me read you what he had said here. He has said that um I remember, I'm trying to. Okay. So the reason why I say, okay, he's leaving the Republican Party. He is taking a stand against the local political system that failed resident. Okay, from the very beginning, he said the party chose not to support him. I already mentioned that. Um, he had said that. I cannot remember where I found that quote. Dayman. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, Rosado asked the voters across the city to write him in November. He said it has become painfully clear that the party is no longer a place where truth, experience, or diversity is respected. Dave Rosado is a color. He's saying, as a minority, as a man of color, and a certain leader, cool edge of the party that's about values while turning its back on and behind closed doors. Okay, so this is why I'm dying to have Dave Rosado on the show. Sir, would this same energy be brought out if you had won the primary? Would it? Because, see, the right is one of the biggest critics of when you bring up race into it. They are. They're like, oh gosh, here we go again with race. Why can't it just be on creed and by why we're all Americans here, right? Now you see a former registered Republican saying, well, they don't want a minority in leadership in this role, and that's what they clearly showed. Look, I think it's going to be a great race. I think it's going to be extremely hard for Sheriff Rosado to keep his seat as a sheriff for the city of Chesapeake. I know a lot of folks who had supported him, Republicans and Democrats and independents. I guess this means he's now an independent at this point, but I just I'm not I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like I see the back and forth. I see the fact that, look, you did lose a primary. You lost the Republican primary. But my question again is, would you have the same energy if you would have won? Because if you would have won, would you have stayed with the Republican Party? Would you? Once you knew that you wasn't even endorsed by them, why even run as a Republican? Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to you all? Doesn't make sense whatsoever. Once again, we live in a system here where folks are thought, hey, look, this is what the values that I thought I was signing up for. You're not the party for that. I've seen at least the local Republican Party in the city of Chesapeake, Virginia, which is the second largest city population-wise in the state of Virginia. I've seen the right lose a lot of folks. Two of them have switched over to become Democrats. Some just flat out just left the party and went independent. I'm gonna have some of those folks on. I will, if they're willing to share. I'm gonna have some of them on because I know some people. I know some people because guess what, y'all? This is not just happening in Virginia. This is happening in all 50 states. States you're living in. Guess what? There's some corruption happening within your local individual city parties. You think it's crazy in the federal level? Hell, think what's happening on a local and state level. All right. Let me digress from this story because this is not going to be the end of this. I will continue to share this story because hey, look, it's a minute before until November comes. So let me go ahead and digress from that. Let's see here. I'm going to move it on to New York City. New York City recently had a huge primary for New York City mayor. The gentleman's name, Zoran. Oh, give me a second as I find. There we go. Zoran Mamdani came up victorious in the Democratic primary for NYC mayor, beating the long time and well-loved Democrat, well, before kind of going rogue, but he beat out a Cuomo. Whoa, okay, so here, let me give you a little history. So Andrew Cuomo the older brother of Chris Cuomo, journalist. He has his own show on News Nation. He has a great podcast called The Cuomo Project. He's been on Fox, CNN, ABC. He's everywhere. He's also the son of Mario Cuomo, the former governor of New York City. The former governor of New York, the state of New York. Andrew Cuomo was a former governor himself. Even he could not take down the 33-year-old Democratic Socialist. He had shared that in his victory speech tonight we made history, and it's very true because he was a rising. I think he was served on the assembly, New York Assembly, maybe like 4 years, maybe 4 years or close to it. He didn't have like a lot of experience, like the 67-year-old who was attempting to make a political comeback. Now, here's the interesting thing. Andrew Cuomo has mentioned that he will not be seeking a run as an independent. He has, conceded the race. He's like saying, you won fair and square. What's next for Andrew Cuomo? I don't know. Is this it? Was that his one attempt? And he's like, okay, I'm out of here. How did I go from leading the state to losing a local election, a city election? Ouch. But now we see you got Mamdani going against the incumbent Mayor Eric Adams, who was currently, he was a Democrat. Now he's going to be running as an independent because he's frustrated of how the party treated him during the whole bribery allegations, X, Y, and Z. And Curtis Silva will be running a campaign again as a Republican, which he lost against Eric Adams at the time. Silva is a conservative talk radio host on WABC out in New York. He's also the founder of the Guardian Angels. I was about to say Guardian of the Galaxy. No, Guardian Angels. And so it is interesting. It's interesting to see what will be shown. It's interesting to see how this will lay out. Could you witness a history? Could you see a progressive in leadership? Because New York City has had it all. They've had Republicans, they've had moderates, they've had yeah, moderates. They've had independents. Now they could be having a progressive in leading the one of the most wealthiest cities. I think it was like in the top 2 wealthiest city in the United States. I think number 1 was like Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of folks have shared, a lot of progressives shared, look, hard work. This was a win for hardworking Americans. This was a win for the everyday people. This was a win for the honest and relatable folks. Look, a 33-year-old. So I go again talking about the age thing, right? I go again talking about the age thing because why? It is so important. It is so important. We live in a world where there's so many folks who are just not giving up their damn power. First of all, being an elected official is a service job. You are here to serve. You are here to serve. That's why acts of service. You can get to your acts of service in so many avenues. You don't have to be an elected official. Yes, I get it. You're in front of so many laws being passed. This and that. It's a lot of power in those positions. I get it. But there should be term limits, y'all. There has to be term limits. There has to be. Because without term limits, you're going to hear another story of a sitting official very ill, or a city official that has passed on, a city official that is dozing off or not making sense when they speak, like back and forth and back and forth. And it's like, y'all, the power is in your hands and you're making the calls here on my living situation here. It's messed up. It's messed up. But I will say this. I think there is a new train of young, hungry, goal-getting candidates, challengers that are wanting to pursue, that are catching the attention of everyday folks. I do think that um you are seeing the struggle coming from both sides of the aisle of trying to maintain their true identity, if that makes sense. Because let's be honest, the left, they don't know what they are representing. The right, same thing. Like, it's well, left and right. There's so many issues here because it's like, okay, do you need to go back to what it was back in the day, on the liberal side, or do you just need to, I don't know, listen to voters, make it make sense to people why we continue to vote you in, and what have you done for us lately, and don't just give us, hey, we're working on this, and look, I get it. When you water a plant, you can't expect a plant to grow over. That takes time. And it takes patience. But sometimes you can't continue having the same messenger, or just, you can't just, you just have to have a new face, new leadership. You have to have somebody new. That's all I'm saying. You have to have somebody new. All right, my friends, let me go ahead and move it on to our next story. Actually, let me go ahead and take a quick we're going to take a quick commercial break. Please don't go where you are, into the Arrington Gavin Show.
Order your beard care products with Rugged Evolution. We're your local beard care line that supports the maintenance of your full, mature beard. Our line includes conditioning shampoos, moisturizers, balms, oils, shaving lotions, and exfoliating soaps. These products moisturize, hydrate, nourish, and have all the natural ingredients for a healthy beard. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. And remember,
Rugged is the new smooth.
And we still in traffic.
I don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up. Yeah, this that new Goat Verse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the show. So next up, I want to discuss this age issue. It's been bugging me since day one. Why? Because people just don't want to say no. They don't want to say enough is enough. They want to keep on going, and look, sometimes I just feel as though, like, old folks can be stubborn, and we've witnessed folks of a certain age get more and more stubborn, saying, I still got. Look, I don't want to do anything at all in my 80s. First of all, yet alone, I don't want to do anything in my 60s that is a hindrance on me. Because let's be honest here, politics is it's an awful job. Okay, the job sucks. All right, it's hell. It's not a fun one. Yes, the outcome, seeing folks very excited, cheering your name, I guess it builds a rush, but it is not a fun job whatsoever. So let me go ahead and bring you this. 87-year-old House Democrat shuts down concerns over age, intends to run for a 19th term. Longtime Democratic Washington, D.C. delegate to the House of Representatives, Eleanor Holmes Norton, told reports recently that she intends to run for re-election in 2026. Now, Norton, who turns, let's see here, she'll be turning 88 soon, replied, yeah, sure, after she was asked if she is seeking a re-election. When asked how she responds to anyone questioning whether she is capable of continuing to serve in Congress at her age, Norton said, I'm going to run, adding, I don't know why anybody would even ask me. Ma'am, ma'am. 87 years old. I'm going to tell you why they're going to ask. Because it's a risk. How many times have we witnessed special elections happen due to, again, health reasons? I'm not saying, passing away, even though that has happened a lot, specifically on the Democratic side. But we see folks, even the Supreme Court. I know, oh my gosh, Justice Sotomayor. I think she's a diabetic, and her health is not in good condition. And there are moments where it's like, okay, look, this is a moment where we could have brought in a new justice under the oath that yet another old elected official, Joe Biden. But no, they don't do that. See, one thing you got to give Trump credit. When Trump has the power, he will utilize all he can within his power. The Democratic side has not done that. And that's what frustrates a lot of Democratic voters. Now, I'm no Democrat. Have I voted for Democrats before? Yes. Are there two sides that I will say I will lean more in this current state? Yes. But I'll be honest, they make it so hard. And they truly are a pain in my side. And this is one reason right here. Norton comments comes from several recent reports that highlighted concerns over age and ability to continue in Congress effectively. Norton has served at DC's non-voting delegate since 1991. Prior to Norton's congressional service, President Jimmy Carter appointed her to serve as the first woman to chair the U.S. Equal Employment. This lady worked with President Carter. President Carter, who passed away at the age of, I believe, 100 or 101. A quote here, it says, I've been privileged to have a long successful career defending the rights of DC residents now who have embraced me as their warrior on the Hill. Through thoughtful discussions with my friends and family and closest advisors, I'm still considering my opinions for the next election cycle. Now, I think it's more respectable. Respectable is more. I respect those who say, okay, look, it's time. I'm not going to seek a re-election. Because look, they know there's so many young. Look, they have so many young, passionate folks that can say, "Look, I've put in the work. I've worked under this person for so long. I've done some." Like, why is it? Why we have Maxine Waters, who's in her 80s. You have James Clyburn, who's in his 80s. You have Nancy Pelosi, who's in her 80s. You have Mitch McConnell, who's in his 80s. You have I mentioned Miss Eleanor. There's so many folks, y'all. There's so many folks. So many. And don't get me wrong, seniority means experience. But to a certain age, I truly think if there's only two terms for president, and I believe in some states differently with the governor's terms, but I know at least in Virginia it's like 2 terms, but they can't do it. Well, can they do it back to back? I think they can do it back to back. Can they? I have to look back on that rule, but they're limited terms. Now with Congress, you and even with even on the state level for a delegate level, you can keep on running. However, if you keep on winning, hey, you stay as much as you want to. But it's every 2 years. But they like, okay, I can keep it up. Let me just keep on doing what I do. Why stop if I keep on winning? Fam, something has to change here. Now, Miss Eleanor, I respect your service. I commend the long fight you've done. I never met you personally, but I do think that there's some points where older elected officials, regardless of which aisle you're on, you need to step aside. Now, I know there's gonna be folks that disagree, and I appreciate that feedback, because I want to hear thoughts. What am I missing, y'all? What am I missing? Because I've spoken with older elected officials, and I know, I'm like, oh my goodness, if they run another election, I don't know how they can. I mean, seriously, they're sweet as pie, extremely generous. But I'm just like, ugh, like, come on. Don't y'all want to like enjoy life while you can, like just, not be so heavily involved, maybe do something that's not as strenuous? Excuse me, y'all. I'm over here struggling with a runny nose, and my connection is acting iffy here. So I thank you for those who have stayed with us through the program, and I apologize again for the technical difficulties. We're having some back and forth issues, which we will take care of that for the next go round. But my friends, I'm just here just to give it to you straight, no chaser. I really am, because it's a massive turnoff, and that's one of the biggest reasons, in my opinion, why the left is struggling to not only win elections, but just to win the trust back from their voters. Because they're like saying, okay, how can you relate to young people? How can you relate to young people? How can you relate to young people when you have folks damn near 90 in office? How? Turn off. It's a turn off to young people. You know, it doesn't make sense. Give us details. I'm just, here, but until now, we for WBOK 12:30 a.m. 7 p.m. Central Time on WBOK 12:30 a.m. Peace and blessings, y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.